What's up, everybody? Welcome to the mentorship day number 6. So today I have 3 goals to ask everybody. First one is going to be income goal. How much money do you want to make each month? It can be both aspirational or the first part, like the aspirational or just get by. Ideally, both. Like, let's say I'll use me as an example. I would say all bills combined, everything, 11,900 if I need if it's only me, that's my minimum I have to make. But aspirational goal, 100,000 a month. So got to figure out how to reverse engineer how that works. Look at both, and I think this is a really good place to start. So, what is your income goal? Maybe pick both. What you need to get by, and what goal gets you excited. Usually, what you need for your bills per month. I'm sorry, what you need for your bills per year. If you turn that into your monthly goal, then it's really exciting because essentially you could just work for 1 month and take 11 months off if you so desire. Okay, so income goal, pay your bills, income goal, aspirational goal. Second part is going to be how many listings do you need to do that? And then the final goal is what time of day specifically do you do it? So the reason why I bring that up is because if you know exactly when you're going to do it and that becomes your schedule, then reselling becomes your day job or part of what you do. And it's really a great way to stay on track. So as an example, for this challenge for the next 2 months, I'm also starting a Poshmark closet, but I didn't do anything last week. And I know why, because it wasn't on my schedule. I was really busy, a whole bunch of stuff popped up, and I'm not used to it. So once I have a time, I think that I'm going to work on Poshmark at 1 p.m. Pacific for 1 hour. So those of you that are in the Patreon group, what I'm planning on doing is turning on the camera, and we have a 24-hour room. I want to turn on the camera to keep myself accountable, mute the chat, and then just work for 1 hour. And I think my goal is either going to be 15 or 20 listings a day on Poshmark for 2 months. I need to figure out how to get that new habit. And then potentially, because we're talking about both income goal to pay your bills and aspirational goal. So for me personally, 10 to 20 listings in an hour wouldn't pay my bills. So for my Poshmark closet to pay my bills, I think it would have to be around 40 listings a day. So what I think I'll do, depending on how I rearrange the space, I'll probably set it up so that I can hire someone to do my Poshmark closet for me. And around 60 or 70 listings a day, she'll do the whole thing. He or she will do the whole thing. And 40 will be make it worth my time. 30 or 40 more will make it worth her or his time to work for me. And that's how I will set it up, because aspirational goal, just to give you guys an idea, for me to make $1 million a year, I need to do $30,000 a day in sales. So breaking it down, I'm thinking 500 sales times $60. That's how I'm going to get there. I don't know how to get there, but I know what the finish line looks like. So if you guys have a specific goal, what do you want to sell? What ASP are you looking for? How much space do you have? How much capital do you need? I'm here to help you guys get a vision of where you want to go. I'm here to figure out how you can get the money to do it. And then also the right people in place. And the right people in place might just be you solo. So I just added in a calculator to the mentorship spreadsheet, which I realized didn't have the right accesses. So you guys can now, hold on, let me get in here. You guys can now go into the document and make a copy. You weren't able to do that until this morning. So let me go ahead and hide this. Okay, so I added in Shane in the group, made a calculator for everybody that will tell you, including the amount of the items that sell, how long it will take you to reach your goal. So let's say you had, let me lock this so no one else can change it. Hold on a second. Okay, only I can change it. So, wait, why is it not? Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to use the example of 1,000 items in your store and selling 10 a day. And let's say right now you're at 100 listings, so you're just getting started and you list 10 per day. It's going to take you 282 days to reach your goal of listing 10 per day, starting at 100. So this is a good way for you to plug in your numbers to figure out where you need to go. But does anybody want to share their income goal, aspirational goal, listing goal, and their schedule right now with the group? It's a hard question because it's like your whole life. Chad, what's up?
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how to envision my goal because both my wife and I work full-time jobs. I started doing this just one to see if I could do it after finding your podcast. And now that I'm doing it, the line of work that I do, I meet a lot of people who are maybe can't do a traditional 9 to 5, or trying to get on their feet, back on their feet. And I'm kind of looking at it to where I want to be able to make enough to maybe invest in others, like my son, when he gets older, if he wants to, work from home, he can have that opportunity and be able to grow it in a way to where people who I come across paths with, I can say, hey, you know what? I can show you how to do this. I can teach you how to do this, and help even invest in them and launch them, to kind of pay it forward, so to speak. And so I don't know exactly monetarily what that looks like. And I guess the listing goal would coincide with that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if you have any advice in that way, or where to start, like, because we don't want to hire somebody too soon, but I feel like that's kind of my first step to maybe reinvest in somebody, is to grow to a point where I can hire somebody who might not be able to get a traditional 9 to 5, so to speak.
Okay, this is great because I wanted to touch base on this, and this is a little bit sensitive, and I was like uncomfortable talking about this until I became a parent. So, okay, so like there's this concept called mom brain, right? Where you raise a kid and essentially you're running on fumes, not enough sleep, too much to do. It's really hard to think. It's like a fog. Okay, so essentially what that happens though as an entrepreneur. There's a million things you need to do. You need to figure out accounting, you need to figure out sales, you need to research your niche so you actually become an expert. You need a good photo station, listing station. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff. So people end up doing nothing. And what the gift that you're talking about right now, the best thing that you can give to somebody is the ability to articulate what they need. That's all you need to succeed, is the ability to articulate what you need. If you don't know what you need, no one else can help you get there. That is the most destructive part of mom brain. As an example, my wife, she wants to run a career. She wants to be home for her kid. She has all these goals. It's hard though for her to articulate what she needs. So I need to sort of step in and think about what she needs. Is it meal prep? Is it she needs alone time to work on her career? Is it DoorDash alone in a hotel by herself so she can think about whatever? This is like really important to think about, because if you can't think clearly about what you need, all the pieces don't work. And monetarily wise, if you know exactly what you need, you can climb out of any situation really quickly. But most people don't know. So I'm hoping in this call, I can help you guys clarify what it is that you need help with exactly. And that will help you reach your goals, because it's hard to know. And I think that I'm in a position now where I can help others. It's part of this. That's part of this call. But the thing I found to be the most useful is giving somebody the mindset. That's the part that is so hard, to be able to reduce everything so you can be clear and say, I need this much money to reach my goal. I need this knowledge and this niche. I need these sourcing parameters. So I look at it all as like puzzle pieces. For me to do $30,000 a day, I don't want my buy cost to be over 10,000. So I need to figure out how to get all the money in. I need to figure out who even has this stuff that I can buy at that volume. How do I store it? How do I ship it? How do I photograph it? But I have all these exact ideas. So I think last week I kind of asked you guys where you want to go. So I asked myself where I want to be. And I was trying to think, okay, I want to do $10 million a year. So I've been kind of brainstorming. On Friday, I had $35,000 in sales in one day on Friday, right? I had 1,600 orders. And I think it's literally just from me thinking, how do I do this? How do I make $1 million a year? And how do I reverse engineer all the different pieces? And so that's what I need from you guys, a really, really clear goal. And that's really hard to do when there's too much stuff going on. You'll have that fog. So I think you have to just
Is there,
ruthlessly reduce stuff out of your life. And that's hard when you want to do everything. So I'm trying to figure out now the right way to, it's almost like we would sit down and have coffee and everybody write down all the things that you want and then cross out 80% of them because you can't do everything. Something's got to give for you to actually reach your goal. Most people just have too much on their plate. You have to either ask for help or you need to get rid of it, because that's like the Warren Buffett says, make 2 lists. What do you want to do? What do you need to do? Then what do you want to do? Rename that list. Stay as far away from as possible. If you actually want to get what you need, you have to get rid of all that. And that's, I don't know, it's kind of a ruthless, weird way of looking at it because I know how hard it is. But yesterday, my wife works from home and I was trying to figure out what she needs, but she was not able to articulate it. But I spent 3 hours yesterday organizing her workspace so that it's like pristine. Hopefully that will help her have a better mind state at home, but she didn't know maybe this workspace is so messy I can't think. So I'm trying to give you guys this clarity, but that is what you need to, because like this is why people who make it to the top and lose everything go straight back to the top again. So people who have nothing go straight to the top again if they know what to ask for. Angela, what's up?
Okay, so my right now to maintain, I would need about like 6,000 a month.
Okay.
My aspiration is 10,000.
Okay.
I know that when we were talking last week, it was a challenge to do about 5 listings per day because I was kind of like all over the place. I would do 1 or 2
Yep.
per week or every other week. So I've been doing that. So I guess right now I'm at like 6,000 like consecutively like each month, and I just want to get it to that 10,000. I reached it one time, but like I feel like if I could get there consistently,
Yep.
then that would be like where I would want to go.
Okay. So there's a couple of like cheat codes to that. I think everyone in this group for the most part has that goal or higher. So that's good that you're around people that share that same goal. But now we need to set up your day so that you can do, this is going to sound crazy, but that you can do 30,000 a day. I'm sorry, a month. Your goal is 10.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to look at how 30,000 a month looks, because, okay, this is going to sound really weird, but I'm like a B student. I just set my goals really high. So B is still really good. It's hard to do like everything as your day never goes as planned. So you need to like set it up so that you're going to get a ton done. So even if you fail, you still make your 10,000 a month.
Okay.
That's what I want to set your day up so that you really know how to optimize everything. So maybe I can ask everyone to do some homework today and share with me all the responsibilities that you need to get done each day. Like, what is it that you need to do? What are you responsible for? Who needs you to do something? And that is when all of that gets whittled down to what do you personally need to do for you? So, Angela, what is your average sale price?
185, about 185.
185. So you sell expensive stuff?
Yeah, but I don't sell a lot of it though. So
But that's the average?
you said, yeah, the average is 185. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's 54 items per month that you would need to list. Okay. So that is roughly 2 a day. And you're saying sometimes you list a few and sometimes you don't list a few. So what we would need to do, how I would mentor you, is I would set you up for a plan where you can list 10 a day. Every day. And then there'll be some days that don't go as well and don't go as planned, but you'll still hit your goal. Is actually, let's see. Yeah, your goal, if you listed 2 a day, all 30 days, you would reach your goal.
Okay.
You can definitely list 2 items. It's just the consistency part.
Yeah.
So what time of day do you want to list?
I have it set at around 8 o'clock, but really, I list when I'm not really structured with that 8 o'clock. Like today, I woke up real early around 2 o'clock in the morning and I was listing. So I don't know. Like I'm not really, I have a schedule, but I don't follow it like I probably should.
Okay. Why do you come to this call on time? I'm positive you guys are more consistent coming to this call than your listing habit.
That's a good question.
It's easier though to be accountable to other people than yourself. So that's like a cheat code. Like for me, if I was only doing it for me, I think I wouldn't do very well. My income doubled when I got married. And then when I had a kid, it went up a lot. Like it might have doubled again. It's just like I'm more, and now that I have this call, which takes an hour Monday through Friday, I'm really getting after it because it's like a lot to do in a short period of time. So I think can we habit stack this call and your listings together? Can you list 3 either before this call or after this call?
Okay.
Because if you list 3 before this call or after this call, you can take the weekends off and still hit 10,000 a month. With a 185 ASP, that's pretty expensive. Can I ask what category?
I do women's clothes, shoes, and accessories.
Okay, so the higher end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I like that model. It reminds me of my friend Johnny, who does 3 a day, $100 profit or more. And he spends all day looking for this stuff in between kids. He has a full-time job, and his goal is to find 3 home runs a day in specific niches. One of the things he looks for is vintage Patagonia. So he's refreshing all these different websites looking for it. When he finds it, he tries to scoop it up for under 100 and sell it for 250 plus to get his $100 profit per item. But you have to be laser focused to make $100 profit on every item. You have to know exactly what you're looking for. That's not super easy. And in the higher end, women's accessories, clothing, shoes, that's what my wife likes to sell. When she did it for a minute, all we did was look for those Chloe scallop flats.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I want to sell those because they're really expensive. So we went and looked for it. And like, I think we found 12 pairs in a week, and she made $100 a pair. So that's like, sounds easy, but she just picked one thing that we were looking for, and we were able to find some sites that discounted it. And she says women overpay for wedding shoes. So that's the market. It's cool looking at what how to arrange it, but I think you can stack it together. And I recommend, Angela, you do 3 before or after this call, and then you'll never miss it. And that's how I kind of want people to use. We have a 24-hour room, and this morning I was asking people how they would use it. I would use it as accountability. I actually would never talk or ask any questions on it. I would just show up, turn my video on, and then do it. And then that's it. Like I thought about today for my call, instead of, I mean, I have a call after this. Instead of doing that call, I'll just turn the camera off on and people can watch that in an hour of work, I worked the whole hour. And then I can be off. So I somehow, if okay, like going back to my wife real quick, if she honestly wants to do a career and a baby, like that's such an unreasonable ask. If you think about what a mom is supposed to do, then I have to actually help a lot. If I'm not helping 5 hours plus a day, I don't think she could do that. She's just like overwhelming herself with this goal. It's way too hard. There's too much stuff to do. You're right. Like that's why I'm saying write down what being a mom is. It's like 14 hours. How do you do that? And then also you want to do 6 figures also? That's like a lot. You've got to add, that's why I'm saying you have to be able to articulate exactly what it is that you need. Otherwise, no one can help you. So that's what this is like. It might be, I don't know. It's just, there's just so much to do. And now I finally get this mom brain thing, because the biggest problem with it is that you can't ask for help. That's the hardest part. It destroys everyone because trying to do this all by yourself is impossible. You can't have everything by yourself. You need a whole team. Chad, what's up?
Is there room for like a season of discovery in this? You know, like because I'm not me personally, I'm
Definitely.
not doing it because I'm like, I gotta earn this much to pay the bills. We're
Yep.
paying the bills. And so I'm like,
Yep.
I feel like I'm starting to get better at this. So I'm trying to discover what works for me, what doesn't. And so my listing goal is there, but my monetary my money goal isn't there
Yep.
yet because I'm just feeling it out, seeing what's happening because I have that freedom financially to do that. What
Yeah.
what what does that process look like?
Okay. So you ready for the discovery
Mhm.
part? This is what I think. I think that to be really, really successful with anything, you need to be hyper focused on customer experience. So if you have kids, your kids are your customer, your wife's your customer. This call is like if you show up to this call and you didn't do anything for 8 weeks, you let down the customer, which is us, right? So if you're focused on the end customer, for you, it might be helping people enrich themselves somehow. Like here, I find it interesting. They kind of solved the homeless problem because, or not the mental illness part of it, but the housing part. They put up like 5,000 8 by 8, 64 square foot houses here in Oakland. And it's like they now have a place, they at least have shelter. Somebody kind of figured that out. They solved that customer part. Like people need a place, like a roof over their head. They at least solved that part of it. Thinking about the customer is the secret to discovery because how many people do you want to help? If you want to help millions of people, you need a lot of money. If you want to help just a few people, then you don't need a lot of money. Like Tony Robbins was talking about, like he donated food one year, then he wants to donate more food the next year. And if you keep doing that for like 20 years, then it's like a million meals. So this is a mastermind call. So like people who all like-minded people, we're all rowing the same direction. Um, I joined one with all these old white guys because I was curious what do $1 million people talk about, right? It's $500 a month. It was ridiculously expensive. So I went into the call. You know what they talk about? Discovery, significance. Like maybe they made all this money, and one guy said, "I go home to a home full of strangers, so it's not worth it." So don't get there and then you forgot the point of you doing this, right? If you're trying to create extra time, that's why your customer, like if you don't care about your family, that's fine. But if your ultimate customer was your family and then you never spent any time with them, then you failed. So I want everyone to think customer. That's why like I think that people should marry people in sales because they salespeople have to investigate what the customer needs if they want to get a sale. Like, what do you want your day to look like? Who do you want to be around you? What do you want your store to look like? That okay, ultimately what this call is about is you guys are the customer. What do you want your store to look like? And in this discovery part of it, that's great because if you're a secondary income, and I intentionally pick people for this call that don't need this as an income as well. You need to figure out why you're even doing this. Like some people donate 100% of their earnings. I want to give you guys one example and then we'll go to Carrie. There's an eBay store in Las Vegas called the Blind Center. If you guys have a chance to go to Las Vegas, you should go there. It's a $10 million building that 30 blind people work in. Okay. They provided jobs for people who are blind. It's incredible. There's like a shipping station where someone can ship without a screen. It's like all I don't know even know how they do that. It's insane. So the person that made the Blind Center of Nevada didn't even put their name on the building. Somebody made an eBay store that's self-sustaining. The building costs $10 million. It provides jobs to 30 blind people who could otherwise not even get a job. There's events there, and the like maybe 4 or 5 casinos in downtown Las Vegas donate their electrical recycling there, and they resell those goods, and that's how it stays afloat. So whoever created the Blind Center of Nevada created a self-sustaining eBay store that supports 30 people who are blind. So probably that person had something to do with some kind of tie to probably eyesight, I'm assuming, and that's why that's the cause. But think about how insane that is, how hard it is to create a company that sustains itself. You don't even want credit for it. I don't know if I could do that. It'd probably be called Chris's blind setter. I don't know if I could do something like that and not take any credit. That's crazy to me. The person that started is not even there. Like they're off doing something else. So you can think, who is your final customer? Who do you want to serve? Do you want to help people who can't get a job? Goodwill is kind of like that because they provide jobs to people who can't get jobs. Although that's kind of questionable how they do it. But Carrie?
I just wanted to say to Chad, we have a lot in common. And I think if I can offer some advice, it's just that nail down what it is that you want to do. I spent 10 years, you know, picking what I thought was cute and then didn't like all the inventory storage. So I switched to jewelry and the profit margin was too low on that. And so you kind of tinker back and forth with what you want to do. I would say look at the market that you live in, figure out, you know, what you have available. I'm in, you know, coastal South Carolina, so it's all golf, all fishing, mostly men's. But, you know, if you can just keep narrowing it down and narrowing it down and narrowing it down until, you know, for me, I can flip through the rack, pull out all the fishing stuff, and here they, you know what has virtually 80 to 100% sell-through rate, and I do fast flips real quick. But don't waste years like I wasted just trying to sort out what you think you want to sell.
That's right. And also, sometimes you don't need to carry, like you don't need to have an emotional connection to a fisherman in Iowa, but just the ability to be able to connect that random item that that person wanted is good enough. The feedback, the sale, the cha-ching, the transfer. I like the saying, a sale is a transfer of energy from one person to another. So I don't really care that much about what I sell. I just like selling so much.
Yeah, me too. I don't
Yeah.
care what I sell,
Yeah.
but that just seems to be plentiful here.
Yeah.
So that's
But
what,
you do care about how to complete a sale.
yeah.
So all the different things that go into it that help you complete the sale, those are all, I think it's fascinating. Because I'm never gonna run out of stuff to talk about on this channel because there's always something that else you can sell. There's always a better way to do it. Actually, there may not be a better way to do it than the way that Tech and Sports does it, but there's different ways of doing it. Bethany, what's up?
I guess for me, I'm kind of in a spot because I am so full-time and have been doing this for a while. I do have kind of my base amount that I make that is enough currently.
Yep.
So, but my thought is I would really, really like to get to where I'm selling about triple what I'm selling now so that I can cover pretty much all of our expenses, not just what I'm currently covering, and have a significant amount to save as well, or invest in a big opportunity or, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to figure out how to get from, you know, my current, you know, surviving just fine level to well beyond that. And I'm trying to figure out how to, and I think for me, it's getting the sell-through rate up because I do have so much inventory now and it's not selling fast enough. So I'm a little bit like kind of at that point of figuring out how to make that jump.
Yeah. So I know that the difference between I mean, the only thing that you can do to increase your sell-through rate is just better item specifics and a little better price because you already know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to give you a goal that I had when I got married, which was to save $6,000 a month, because that amount over 10 years is $1 million if you just invest it passively into something. So that's 720 grand that you make over the course of 10 years, saving $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then that's $1 million. So you make $280,000 in interest over the course of 10 years if you do that. And I wish I had learned that as a kid. Like I have a friend.
I know.
His dad charged him rent from when he was 8 till he was 18.
Awesome.
And he's like, this is such BS. I have to pay rent to live here. My friends get to live there for free. And then when he graduated high school, his dad gave him the entire amount back and showed him the interest that it made over the 10 years. So like that kid gets it. He's like, holy crap, I paid rent over 10 years and this is how much money it was. And all that earned interest over this time. So that's a cool gift to be able to give your kid.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you have a $6,000 a month savings goal, it's obviously a lot. That's more than some people make. But
Yeah.
that goal is not so crazy like, oh, I want to make $1 million. So 6,000 a month savings is plenty. And I think that like Hannah's coming from a high power job. You don't need to make, as she would say, stupid amounts of money. You can just make great money and have a little bit more work-life balance and take a 10-year approach to saving $1 million instead of like right now or being in a hurry.
Right.
I think that slowed me down thinking about that. And then that also became my wife's goal for her job, but doing it in corporate America is a little different. Like it's intense. That's why I was thinking it's hard to, let me promote Christy. It's hard, but I think that 6,000 goal is really exciting.
I
It gets
that.
people like fired up. Like that could be something that you do, Chad. You could save $1 million on the side in the next 10 years, and then you could help almost anybody you want. Like I would love
I mean,
write a check. Go ahead.
no, I mean, I love the challenge of it. Like I before I had this to do, I was like grinding on like video games and like building free to play accounts. I love that challenge of like, okay, I'm going to start with just a little bit. I'm going to see how far I can build this out. And so everything's up and to the right so far. So I'm like, I'm doing something right. I'm not losing money. I'm not spending my own money. I'm in the green.
Yep.
So now I'm kind of in this season of like, okay, let's just keep seeing how far I can take it,
Yep.
And so it's not that I'm lack of a goal. I'm just kind of like allowing it to kind of push me right now in a direction and see kind of where I land and then say, okay, now that the dust clears, here's some avenues I want to try to go down with it.
So I think there's two things, Chad, with that. One is, I think if you're focused on your customer, like I said earlier, that's key. But then another part of that is maybe you want more customers. Usually when you help a customer, if you do a really good job, they'll want to be your customer again, or now a little bit more about that market and you can now offer a little bit more. And then the nice part of this, which is important for all of us, since we all only have a certain amount of time on earth, if you get better at your job, you spend the same amount of time and you will actually earn more each time you do it. So as an example, when I started YouTube, I think I made like 10 cents an hour. It's really bad, right? The first year, I think I made $100. But now every single YouTube video is hundreds of dollars, but it's the same work. And my wife gave me the best advice ever. She said, just do YouTube for a year for fun. Just be consistent. And it will probably make money because everybody that does it for a long time makes money. I literally made the same video for 5 years. It's always me talking about how to like optimize your numbers on eBay. I'd say you don't have to even make different videos. So your hourly goes up as long as you get better at your job. If you are in the fishing niche or golf niche, that is never going to get old, ever. Like I have one relationship with the golf course and I get to buy their clearance at the end of the season. If I kept doing that, and there's a guy on eBay that has, I think, 50 golf courses that he represents, and he buys the end of season. He makes a fortune just from the relationships with those golf courses saying, okay, end of the season, go for it. I was actually talking to my brother about this yesterday because he's a golf pro, and he said the golf shop only has one season to get full price. Then after that, they're screwed. It's discount. It's TJ Maxx. So that gives an opportunity for us to jump in, buy it at a discount, and resell it because their market is only that golf course and our market is the whole world. Let's see. Let me try to get Kristen in. Okay. So that's I like the discovery part of this. You could spend this whole week thinking about that as well, because this, how much money do you want to make? What kind of schedule you want is all related to the lifestyle that you want. Like there's a, like if you talk to tech about how intense it is to sell 1,000 items a day, literally you could be done shipping and like it's not even like you even shipped because the queue is just all full again of new orders again. So you don't want to build your own jail like he did, and he cannot escape this money making machine that he's trapped himself into. But everybody, you can figure out some kind of comfortable place that you want to be for your life, and that's why this. I think, what is your listing goal? What's a schedule that you want? What's an aspirational income goal? Those are all heavily related to discovery, because you need to think about what sacrifice is even worth it for you to do that. Armin, what's up?
Hi everyone. I just want to say, so for your question, basically, I think a realistic goal for me, I think I would really like to reach 10,000 a month.
Hold on. Click that on.
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
The realistic goal, I think I would like to reach 10,000 a month, and then obviously I would really like to one day make $1 million a year.
Yep.
That is more like in a couple of years maybe. But obviously I hear all the struggles other people have, like kids and school runs and everything. I mean, I'm only 23, so obviously I don't really have much on me at the minute. And I feel like sometimes when in this call, I feel like I waste so much time every single day where I should really be crushing as much as I can, eBay or, so I don't know. I mean, my girlfriend works into the banks and in JP Morgan and stuff. So she's really structured. So obviously her day is a sort of a 9 to 5. So I sort of start before her, and I want to get everything done when she comes back home, So it's, I don't know, it's just to find the stability, of when to start going more into eBay. At the minute I'm doing, I know it sounds a bit silly, but I'm doing a paper round, just doing basically the newspaper, and I'm just doing it every single day. But only doing that here in London covers my entire bills for the entire month. So the mortgage, the water, everything, which is great. But you mentioned the other day, you said when you're an entrepreneur and you have like a part-time job, like this one only takes me an hour a day at 6 a.m. in the morning, you already wake up and you've already made some money. So it's a bit easier to just go ahead with the day. So I don't know, it's just, I'm in the point where, should I drop that? Should I just really get crushing more eBay? That's what really.
Okay, this is great. So 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, one of the first people on my chat was Prince Patel, and he was 23 at the time. And no girlfriend, no responsibilities, no overhead, no baggage yet, right? Young guy. So essentially he became obsessed with figuring out how eBay works. And that is my advice for you. Like if you to get a mentor or to get obsessed with a specific industry. So I'll give you a couple of ideas that he had, actually 3 ideas with him. So he came to stay with me for a couple of weeks, and his schedule was sleep till 2 or 3 in the afternoon, wake up, and then call suppliers in China, because it's the opposite schedule for them. So he would sleep during the day, look for suppliers at night. And there's a couple of niches that he found that kind of blew my mind. One was breast pump components. So breast pumps, obviously they sell a lot, but the components cannot be reused. Can't use the stuff, the accessories with it, but the main motor can be reused. And his idea was, I want to sell something that I can sell over and over again, the same part. So there's some like liability and issues with breast pump mechanics. So he moved away from that. He ended up doing GoPros. But I watched him experiment with all these different things that he wanted to try and test. One was, at the time, vaping was more popular 5 years ago. And we looked at this market. Vaping pen batteries were selling 20,000 units a day on eBay. This is crazy, right? So, but you have to be willing to make 5 cents, 6 cents, 10 cents per unit. But he's obsessed with how eBay works, how to rank, how to find products all the way from the source. You need to get obsessed with it right now before you get all the overhead, before real life slaps you in the face. You can get obsessed with how markets work, and then you'll be set the rest of your life. That's like, because you can take that, you can translate that in any anything. If you can just figure out how to get to a high level in one category. It can be football cleats. It can be anything. You can even relate it to your paper route. Everything that you can optimize. I think that should make a comeback. Paper. I just don't know how it would do it. Like, it's so much more satisfying to read paper than your screen. That's kind of a dying media. But I think right now you need to figure out how to get obsessed with how something works. Like the skill that Carrie has, where she can figure out what's in her area that's profitable. You need that, and then get obsessed to becoming the top in that category. So if Carrie wanted to be #1 fishing gear seller, she would just push it to the extreme and figure out how to do that. There was a guy in the group, his eBay store was called like Village Tackle. He made all those tackle things in his garage. He had like 600 or 900 listings. Like, his words, I don't give a shit about fishing. Never fished, make 6 figures selling fishing stuff. He's just curious on how to do it. And he's like, I don't want to go out anymore, so I'm just going to make it. He made all of them in his garage. Was it awesome? So like, all the different lures, all the different colors were just different listings for him. So instead of doing a different listing that's completely different, same listing, different color. And he just did that, crushed it. So there's ways to do it without going out. You can do it all from home. Prince, like, I remember we went out and we found a brand new iPod in the box. It was like worth $200. And he said, it's a waste of my time to buy that for $5. I would never do that because I can only sell it one time. I want to sell things I can sell thousands or hundreds of thousands of. He was looking for these huge market, one thing over and over and over again. So becoming an expert, I guess, is the key, because that's where all the money's at. And also the consistency creates compounding. Like, if you invest $600 a week, or let's just say $60 a week, $60 a week over 10 years is $10,000. But everyone in this group can invest $60 a week. That's less than $10 a day. That's not a lot. It's not hard. That's essentially one listing a day. But over time, it adds up to a ridiculous amount. But if you're inconsistent with listing, it doesn't compound. I've seen it because there's people in the group now that started with nothing and now they have 100,000 in savings, like 18 months later, from zero. So if Chad just keeps reinvesting, he's in the place right now where he's not putting in his own money. He doesn't really have to even overthink it. He could just do that for a couple of years and there's probably going to be an extra 100 grand just from that compounding. I'm really shocked because we've only been doing the group for a year and a half, but in a few years, it's going to be insane. People are going to have like $1 million saved. And I don't know, because this group is weird. It'll make your expenses go down and your income go up, which is really not normal. Like, if we were going to multi-level marketing, I'd be asking you guys to all write me a $9,000 check for shampoo. I'm not doing that. You guys don't need to spend any money. Carrie, do you still have a question? No, you're in? Okay. Bethany, what's up?
I was just going to say that I'm kind of jealous of you guys that are not like that sell clothing and are not passionate about it, because like you've said that you don't care about clothes and it's just business for you. And so I kind of got into this because I do love clothes. And I think that does kind of hold me back sometimes, honestly, because like it's, as much as I enjoy what I do, it's, you know, it's more easy to be emotional about items or sales or whatever when you're more connected to what you're selling, I think. So it's a good thing and a bad thing, but that's just a thought I had.
Yeah, I think that's, like, as an example, I'm packing this person's order. They bought a Rolling Stones t-shirt, very cool.
Yeah.
A vintage urban Sean John shirt, very cool. A Michael Jackson t-shirt, very cool. Two Led Zeppelin shirts, or 3 Led Zeppelin shirts. So like, the guy that I bought these from doesn't have a very good listing habit on eBay. He's too obsessed with the stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard for him to list. And I'm like, instead of letting me make the money, you should just list all these on eBay and you make all the money. He's like, I just can't, he's too into it. So, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that your listing habit needs to come first. You can be totally into it and still, you don't have to be emotionless.
Yeah.
But I mean, Carrie, how passionate are you about fishing stuff? Yeah, I'm mute. Oh, you're good? Oh, Ben.
No, I'm not passionate about it. I'm passionate about when I see it and think these are awesome. I'm going to make money from it.
Oh, I see.
That's
Okay.
about it.
I got you. Let's see. Let's go with Christy. Christy, welcome to the group. What are you working on?
Being consistent.
Right?
I was consistent. Like normally I'll list like 30 or 50 in one day, and then I don't do anything for like 3 or 4 days. And then I noticed like since I've been, I've only been doing this since the beginning of March, but I already have like a 1,100 pieces in my inventory, and I don't really want it to grow. I just, I'm at the point where I want to sell what be in nirvana. So
Yeah.
I was consistent since last Monday, and I did 15 every day. And then this was my highest sales this weekend. I had 15 that I'm going to be taking to the post office. So I was really excited about that.
I love it. Yeah, that's
And we also did a photo area. I had one that was kind of like sketchy, but we built a temporary one like yours, that's angled. So, I mean, I think that text is really great, but I just don't think I can keep squatting like that, So the angle I think will be best for me.
so that's interesting because I tried it his way on the floor and I'm 6'2". Hold on. And it's not that bad because it's really fast, but I understand. The vertical flat lay is a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think height also matters. If you are under 5'5", the flat lay on the actual ground, I would argue is more comfortable because you can kneel and it's really fast. But I don't know, from what I have seen other people do, like I watched my lady do it on the ground. She was 5'1" and she loved it. But I was like, I don't want to have two setups, so you have to do it standing. But consistency is the number one thing, and it's the only skill that you need, and it's not sexy. But like this t-shirt guy, I asked him for an exclusive deal, right? Because I'm like, I want all of them. So what do we do to get, what do we have to do so I can get all of them? And he said, I'll give you a semi-exclusive deal. And I'm like, that's the same as nothing. That's like being semi-loyal to your partner. That's like sometimes going to your kid's baseball game and sometimes not. There's a big, but they will remember if you don't go one time. You said you were going to come but didn't go. They're going to remember that. So consistency is 100% of it. Gabrielle says it's horrible and she's 5 foot. I don't like it. I hated it. So I switched to standing. I didn't think it was as bad after I tried it and got used to it, but I still prefer standing. But consistency is literally everything. You said you were consistent since last Monday. Tech hasn't missed a day of listing in 13 years.
Yeah.
Like that's consistency. And he turned $30 into 8 figures. So
Incredible.
it's nothing fancy. It's really annoying. Like, okay, one more mastermind thought. So the old guys that I joined, the guy that started that group was in a mastermind group with Dave Ramsey. And they met every single Sunday for 7 years or something. And when they started, they were all broke young parents. And when they ended, the average income was $1 million a month. 7 years later. That's not even that long. That's only 1 day a week. So if we're all on the same page and improving and thinking, and I think I'm glad Chad brought up the discovery part, because you have to think about why you're doing this. And if you genuinely want to serve people, I think that it naturally turns into a big income because you want to serve more people. Chad?
Yeah, something that really resonates with you and Tech, what y'all talk about is the slow growth, like not trying to get ahead of yourself, and so that's what I've been trying to do, but I'm also trying to balance that Am I moving too slow? Am I being fearful? Because I don't know if you remember when one of our first calls, I was making 10 listings a day, banking 2 and posting 8. And I was selling like 3.5 average a day. And I started crunching the numbers on my inventory. And I'm like, man, I'm going to start needing to rent a space, and I'm not ready to do that. I want to grow slow. So I backed up to now I actually post 5 a day, and I'm still keeping that about 3 to 3.5 sale a day average. And so I'm kind of cool with that. I'm like, that's cool. That's over 60% of my inventory going every day, what I list every day. But is that like smart to do to scale back like that and then stick with that for, I'm like, I can do this for another year, because the consistency part I've got, I list from 5:30 to about 7 every day, all, except for the weekends, but I list more or I make more posts during the week to have the weekends off. But I'm consistent on that. I don't have any problem staying consistent, sticking to a schedule. But I'm just trying to figure out how quickly do I scale or, pull back or, just sit on it and let it ride.
I think now that I'm a disciple of tech, I want just the forever type of thing. Like, I want to be consistent. I want to be a good partner at home. I want to be a good business partner. I want to be a good YouTube partner for everyone. Be consistent, show up. And the volume doesn't matter as much, because when you do 10 for a while, going to 11 or 15 the hard part is doing 10 consistently. It's not doing 15. If you know how to do 10, you can do 15. It's just the consistency part. That's why I want Angela to habit stack the listings before or after this call, so it's just all one motion. Like, for me, it's been really good having Christine come in to do videos for me at 10 o'clock every single morning, because I'm ready to go at 10 a.m. We make the videos. Before that is this call. Before that, take my daughter to childcare, although she's home this week. If you can just stick it all together, then adding is actually easier than being consistent. Being consistent is the hardest. Adding a few more, because people always say that, like, oh, it's a 25 this weekend. And I just think that's like eating one salad. It doesn't do anything. You're not going to have a 6-pack. There's a lot more to do it. There's a lot more. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think of you don't have to do anything special, but an hour of practice a day, and you're good. You have plenty of time. But yeah, I think everyone think about how much money you need, what's exciting, what's not exciting. For me, thinking about making an annual income in a month is exciting. You could take any vacation you want. You can, you don't have to work for anybody. But it just takes some discipline to get to the point where your machine is rolling. So Chad, now that you have this, the worst thing you could do is grow too fast and then lose interest once the consistency stops working. So that's why, like, I really like one more analogy with like Russian or Chinese athletes. They usually don't do 1 rep max. 1 rep max is like an American thing. People love to talk about what's the heaviest, what's the most expensive, but that causes injuries. If you just hang out 1 pound more a week, you'll be in the Olympics. You don't have to do anything except for not get hurt. And if you have a big store and your sales start to slow down, that's essentially kind of a minor injury. I would say, Bethany, your store is kind of injured. It's not operating at full speed because there's some stuff slowing it down. Some listings aren't optimized. You're not an expert in some of the item specifics because you had a VA do it. And that's okay. You can go back and adjust it, but you already have the listing hat, but going back to adjust, the foundation is always the hardest. And I'm the king of going too fast. I've changed. I'm a changed man. I'm okay going slow now. Because like I didn't build the relationships that I have over time. I'm sorry, quickly. All the good relationships I have taken a long time. So that's my thought. I want everyone to think about how much money you want to make, what's exciting to you. If you have a really exciting goal, usually you don't burn out, from my experience, because you're asking a lot. You want something big from life, then you've got to give something big. Like if you want more, give more. Christy, what's up?
I have a goal. My first goal is a swimming pool in my backyard. My goal is a little different than everybody else's, but yeah, I'm
What is it
hoping,
with the backyard?
my goal is to put a swimming pool in my backyard next summer.
How much is it?
80,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want it all from eBay?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great goal. See, but that's actually exciting.
Well, I live in Arizona. It'll be 115 here pretty soon, all summer long for 3 months.
But is a $600 kiddie pool from Costco exciting?
No.
Yeah, you would have no listing goal. Who cares? Everyone, sometimes I hear people's goals and it's so weak. I would think I wouldn't even get out of bed for that goal. It's too low. It's too easy for you. $80,000 pool, that's hard.
Yeah,
You got to get out of bed and get to work. That's $80,000 after tax.
absolutely.
That's and if you live in Arizona where it's 116 for no reason, then a pool would be great.
Yep.
Yep. Hannah, what's up?
Hey, morning, Chris. So I had shared that my goal was ultimately to replace my full-time income. So like after taxes, all of that, like counting 401k, insurance, blah, 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 I
Yep.
need to like make like 250K.
Yep.
So, but because I'm doing it by myself and because I have such an intense full-time job,
Yep.
I feel like I don't know, like, do I try to completely build up the business and prove, like, do the 250K in a year before I quit my job? Or do I have to like, okay, if I can make 100K, because I
Okay.
don't like, I feel like I don't know if I can
This is great because
build it to that point before I quit my job, because my job takes so much time.
but you also spent 10 years developing the chops to do that job.
Yeah.
You got to be a little bit patient to replacing that a high-powered income, like a 250K plus year job. The equivalent of that is usually a really, really hard reselling day.
Right.
Usually, right? There's not like because that amount of value, let's say that you can replace your income with 20,000 per month. Conservatively, I would say if we're just being round numbers, let's say you're doing 100,000 a month and 20,000 is profit before tax. That still doesn't quite match your income because the 401k, maybe company match. Like also I was thinking about you. I was like, maybe the ability to become partner one day, that kind of thing you have to weigh into the equation. But the replacing the income and you being the owner, you can actually scale to any size as long. Okay, I know my answer. You need to find something replicatable before you can quit. You're smart enough to grow the business to any size. You just need the model. So for you to figure out what that initial model is, that's what you should be focusing your time on, not having a big store. For you, in my opinion, having 1,000 item store is the same as 10,000. You just need proof of concept. Because you already know how to work your ass off. You have a job that sucks. So that job, and it's also, that I don't know what that's called, where you have to work 2 full-time jobs in the same job, but that's what you have.
Yeah.
So that's like 125K twice. I've had, I dated a girl that had 3 jobs in one. Her pre-tax paycheck was once a month, 40,000. She worked from 7 in the morning till 1 in the morning. I'm like, how do you even exist? This is the hardest thing I've ever seen. 7 in the morning till 1 in the morning, 7 days a week. I'm like, I never even see you. At 1 o'clock in the morning, she'd be like, I go to the gym. It's like just so she could get a release from her insane job. So like that's 3 full-time jobs.
Well,
So
see, but that's
she's
the thing. I'm also trying to find the balance. Like I need to replace my income at least to the point where I'm like paying my bills, obviously.
Yeah.
But I also, like I want to be less stressed because my full-time current job is so stressful.
Yeah, I understand. I don't know though. Making $100,000 a month is not stress-free in gross revenue as a reseller, because it's still a little bit stressful. You can get suspended from the platform. You can lose a supplier. You can have your workers get sick. You can have someone get injured. There's not like it's very difficult to do 100K a month solo. I've only seen that a couple times in 5 years of doing this, where someone did $1 million a year, which is what you would need to do minimum to do 250K profit solo. That's very hard. The most efficient I've ever seen is $1 million by themselves, 300K profit, but that's like still a 16-hour day. It's not.
Right.
You
See, that's the
don't.
thing. I'm okay with doing a 16-hour day. I just don't want, I don't know. I don't want the,
I know you are, because you do it now.
right.
Yeah.
I don't mind a 16-hour day. And it's like, that's the thing with eBay. I'm so, I almost swore. I'm so friggin' stoked
You can
to
swear.
go to work. Like,
No,
so
I
friggin'
got
stoked
you. Yeah, I
to just
got
like
you.
sit down and do the work. And my other job, it's like I literally like somebody has to duct tape me to the chair to get me to do it. Like,
Well, I do think that is nice because, in a sense, because if you don't like your job, it's more motivating. I left a job I liked to do this. So it's kind of like, I never had that fire of hating my boss. Not that I want to feel like what that feels like, but I never
no,
disliked
it
my job.
sucks, man.
So I think it's not really stress-free to run a 7-figure business, which is what you need to replace your income. But I think what you just need is a proven model.
Yeah.
Once you see it working, you can see the systems of, essentially that is, let's break it down into the day. If you did $3,000 a day in sales, you would be there. You would replace your income, in my opinion. So
Okay, so $3,000 a day in sales.
What's your average sale price?
My average profit per
sale.
item
Revenue.
now.
Revenue. What's your average? What does it sell for before?
Sells for like 30.
Okay. So it's 100 items a day.
Yeah.
So that's the math behind replacing your job. But you need to have all the things in place so that you can list on average 100 items a day, 365 days a year, which I've already done this calculation a million times because I love this number. Because at 250K, it's like a really good amount of money to be middle class in a nice area. You don't get to be anyone until you're making like 600K, in my opinion, but 250, you can kind of taste it. And I feel like that is 140 Monday through Friday, or 107 days a week. And that is fucking hard solo. Really, really, really hard. Might be harder than your job. Really hard.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm doing like 10 a day right now and it feels hard. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So there is the math behind it, because you can do that. You can do 140 Monday through Friday and take the weekends off, or but that's a lot. 700 listings a week. So that's if you do it solo. If you want to add people to it, then you need to do way more, so that you can pay for that worker that helps you. So the 100 a day, $1 million a year income is awesome. And there's a couple of people I know that have done it. But I guess it's better than a job you hate, but it's still really hard.
I think it's hard in a good way, maybe, is what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
At least so far, that's how I feel about it. It's hard
You're not afraid of hard.
No, I'm not afraid of hard.
Yeah, you're not afraid of hard. That's just reverse engineering. How much space do you need? How much capital do you need? Maybe we can use you as an example. Let's do this. How many items are in your store?
Right now, like 200.
Okay. And oops. Sell 100 a day. Okay. So if you listed you need to put in $130,000 to buy your inventory. Actually, let me change this. Yeah, this is like, it would take you a year and a half, essentially.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. I know. But you'd have to list 100 items for a year and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that I have to like, okay, I can list 100 items, sure, but I have to quit my job.
So if you have 130 grand ready to go and you have the space for 10,000 items and you're an expert in your category, so you can maintain 1% sell-through rate the entire time, which I'm sure which you're already proving now, 515 days later, this calculator always works. People, the only thing that doesn't work is people becoming consistent. I don't see that happening for you because your current job is actually harder than 100 listings a day. I can actually say that. It's different kind of hard.
Yeah, it feels like I feel like I need like a leap of faith. I need to like
So what you need
because
essentially
I
is,
have proved that I proved it can work on a small scale. Like I'm making enough profit for item, my sell through is good, but I have to scale it times 10.
well, yeah, 1,000, get to 1,000 items first. If you're selling 10 a day and you really love it, I would say take a little bit longer than the 515 days. I would do it over the course of 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you really want to go all in, then I will support you. But I know it's hard because 100 a day is really grueling. It would take me maybe 9 hours a day to do that, 5 days a week.
I'm trying to convince my wife to be my listing elf.
Does she help? Does she help with other? I guess it's a personal question, but is she willing to jump in with you and do stuff with you?
No, yeah, she does post office runs for me. She's into it. She wants to replace both of our incomes.
Okay. Yeah, it's I want that success story. Please do that. Please replace your 250K corporate job with your listing job. There's not enough female representation of that. I'll support you, whatever you need to get there, because I want more stories like that. Plenty of guys do that, but then they don't do anything at home. So, I mean, that's
I wish. I mean, no, I don't wish. I
No,
freaking love my kids more than anything. But
the business part is easy. I think it's easy compared to the family part. The family part is way harder. You don't know what your baby's gonna do. You don't know what will happen at school. You don't know what your significant other will say to you that will screw you up for 4 hours. Can't plan on that.
Amen.
Like if she throws in you're just like your father, something like that in there, it'll mess up your whole day. But that doesn't happen when you're reselling because they're inanimate objects. They don't talk. Arwen, one more thought for you. There's I remember when I was working at Lexus, the general manager replaced the general manager with a professional baseball player with no experience in the car business. He went from professional athlete to running a car dealership. And I think that it's the same. Performing at a high level is very similar. There's certain KPI. So I imagine if you're really, really fast, really skilled, and you're athletic, you're probably going to have a really great chance of succeeding in a different sport. So I think it's important that when you start excelling at a really high level, I would say as a young guy, just try to get to the top of any category of reselling. It doesn't matter what it is. And the listing quality report will tell you where you rank. Try to get the number one in whatever category that you pick. I never made it. I was top 10 for all 6 of my categories, but tech is number 1 in all 10 of his categories.
Damn.
So he could switch to vacuum cleaners and he would still work all the way back to being number 1 because he's already done it in 10 different categories. And it's the same thing. So our podcast that we do on Wednesdays, it's in the top 1% of podcasts. We've only been doing it for a year and a half. We just have never missed one. And we have extra in case we have to miss one. But like, we didn't do anything. We actually have the same episode every week, which is be consistent, reduce distractions, Get rid of people that drag you down. Stop listing everything. If you don't have a system for it, don't buy it. That's the best rule for life. If you don't have a system for it, don't buy it. Leave it there. Don't buy a nativity set for $5. It's worth 500 because you don't have anywhere to store it, and it will mess up your whole day. Yeah, I honestly think that the business part is easy. The family part is hard. Doing both is hard. That's why I think there's more men examples, because it's more like appropriate and acceptable for them to work all day. But don't be like the guys that I joined that said they go home to a house full of strangers. That sucks too. I don't even know if that's worth it. Okay, so one more step back. The average person in the group that I joined, their average income was $1 million a year. And the average person had 20 employees. So that's something to think about, right? Those are 20 people. So $1 million is only 50K per person. So 50K is 100 listings a week, right? So if Bethany had 3 people working for her at making her $50,000 a year, so $3,000 a week, that's sort of the income she would need to save $6,000 a month and also not work in her store. She would need 3 fully optimized people running it. And then what she could be is the person that is monitoring the inbound inventory to make sure that it qualifies for the right stuff. So Hannah, I'm glad that you have this goal. So it will take some time. It's going to take longer than 2 months, but the $1,003,000 a day revenue goal is awesome. And it doesn't end because I'm already there and I'm looking at 30,000 a day. It just keeps going. There's people who flip houses. There's people who flip buildings. There's people who flip islands. It just keeps going. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I flip houses too. So
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, I love the idea of $3,000 a day. It's a really, really cool business. You can do it solo. There's 10,000 people, according to the IRS, that do $1 million a year with no employees. So you can do it, but it's 100 a day. Armin, what's up?
Hi, Chris. Sorry, I actually never checked my listing quality report, sorry, before. And I've just realized that on women's trainers, I'm like 13th. So do you think I should just maybe get into that? Obviously, trainers is what I enjoy the most because I'm a really sneakerhead and I just love it. But obviously, I don't know, it's all in supply. So, it's what you can get more of it. Obviously, clothes, I really like them as well. I just don't get attached to them and just get them sold really, really quick. And that's it. But obviously, trainers sell for more money, obviously.
So this is great because there's a big difference between 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Each step that you go up will become progressively harder. Because there's somebody, the number one person is probably living and breathing trainers all day. So trying to figure out how to get to the top, you will eventually figure out who that person is too. You're trying to overpass because they'll be in your category. So
Okay.
it's a really, really good goal, but that's the same for like professional sports is great because gold medal or nothing. So if you get to the top, and that statistic really shocked me, which was 40% of all sales come from the first page. That is shocking. That means that the person that's on the front page, they might the Pareto principle where the 20% of the people make all the money. In eBay, it's like maybe 5% of people make all the money, the people who know how to get on the first page. So you need to become obsessed with how to get your trainers on the first page so you can get all the sales. Let everybody else fight for the 60%. You get half the sales just from knowing what you're doing. Everybody else fights for the rest. And I've seen that. Like there's I don't know, it's just like everything. There's people who do more than the rest of the group combined because they've become number one. And when you're number one, everything is totally different. People will call you to sell their trainers. So I put that ad out for people who are giving up on their eBay store. None of you. to drive your store over here and I'll buy the whole thing. You can get that reputation. When people want to liquidate their trainers, they will call you. And it's awesome. Actually, I have that. That's why I got suspended. I have I am the person. I'm like the person they call to get rid of sneakers. So it's interesting.
So you got something to look forward to, buddy.
I know. You got
Suspension.
I would be careful. And just the Nike outlet is better than what I was doing, but the sneaker game is great. And women's running shoes, I don't think you'll have any issues.
Thank you.
All right, Brittany, have a good one. Hannah, final thought or question?
No, I'm listing.
Okay. 100 a day is the
Trying to
goal
get my
for you.
100 a day.
100 a day. I love it. 100 a day, 30 ASP. That's 250K a year. Chrissy? We'll call it after this question. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I've been listening to the podcast while I've been listing and photographing, and I have learned like so much just from, I've never listened to that many podcasts. I mean, I only joined the Patreon maybe a week or two ago.
Yep.
And I have just like little nuggets, you know, there's so much that I've learned. So it's really helpful. I listened to all the beginner ones, and now I'm kind of rifling through the rest of them. So it's very beneficial.
I'm so proud of our podcast because we're ranked number 161, not that I'm counting, but we haven't done anything different. Chad was worried about not growing. You don't have to. You just have to be consistent. It will grow over time because you become more of an expert. So that's the part I think that is like when we first started the podcast, everybody thought we were talking about you have to be big. You have to be huge or you won't make any money. But being big is a result of being consistent. You don't try and be big and skip all the steps of being consistent. It doesn't work. I tried that. There's no hack. We have 84 podcasts. You can't make 84 podcasts this weekend and rank that high. It takes time to marinate and grow, and you have to get better. And our first podcasts are horrible compared to the recent ones because we're still learning how to do it and how to convey information. And all these terms that we came up with are all from talking to people. Like reseller nirvana means you list and sell the same number a day. That's easy to understand, right? I call it reseller FU, the point where you can quit your job. For Hannah, that's when she's selling 100 a day, right? Then she can say, no thanks, corporate job. I'm going to work for myself. So, and that also makes me think, because my wife wants that job. So it's going to be grueling if she wants to get there, because all those jobs are like that.
I was thinking it would be kind of cool if you and Tech did like how long does it take each one of you to list like 10 items?
We've done it.
This way. Oh, you have?
Yeah.
A challenge.
Not even close. He kills me. It's like his wife does the same thing. She does 15 listings, photographed, listing, put away, 15 listings shipped, all the customer service, 45 minutes. That's so fast. That's like under an hour and $50,000 a year or more. Right? So 5 of those hours replaces Hannah's income if you have the supply. So for the same process for me, it would take an hour. So it would be fun for you guys to watch how slow I am compared to him, but it's not a competition. Like he's way faster. It's not even close, because if you think about the process, which I do every second of every day, and talking about Gabrielle, okay, for my process, right, I have to take the item, put it onto a hanger, put it onto the flat lay, right? Then I have to stage it. It takes longer than just laying it flat on the ground, right? Then when I'm done with the photos, I have to pack it into plastic, because in my system, the bin system, that's the best way to do it. So it takes 8 to 10 seconds for me to put it into the bag, right? Then I have to walk over and put it away on the rack. They just go onto a hanger. So it's a little bit faster to put away and to pull slightly faster. Customer service is the same. the customer service hack that he does is he answers emails from his email. So Cushing comes in, he clicks the reply, opens up the window where you can reply instead of doing it inside of eBay, because eBay's messaging system is horrible. So I learned that. And in the listing part, his only takes 23 seconds. Mine's like a little under a minute. So his listing process is 23, it's like 20 or 30 seconds faster than mine. And the photo process is like 10 seconds faster, but 30 seconds is a lot. Over the course of an hour, he's doing
Did the train run over the internet?
Yeah, Chris is frozen.
Hi, you two.
There was one podcast that I was listening to where they were talking about, it was an older one, where they were talking about doing like bar scans for each of your items. And I thought that would be really interesting to be able to do something like that. And there would be very little mistake, you would think.
that was dramatic. Sorry about that. Everyone have a wonderful
Train
day.
got you, didn't it?
Yep. I'll see you guys tomorrow.